Good evening. Welcome to Making Life Brighter and Happy New Year. I hope it's going jolly for you this year. And we are off to a grand start. Oh, we'll take out a repeat echo. How's that? I have a delay in what I'm doing here. So as I broadcast, there's a little bit of a delay. It's kind of like singing in Shea Stadium. You sing a note or you sing a line, and then it comes back around a little bit later. And I get the effect like I'm buzzing in on the holodeck from somewhere else. And we don't know why that's happening tonight, but it's been an interesting journey from the get go. So here we are. And I would like to welcome you into this new year. It's already off to a bang. We have all kinds of interesting things happening that only those of us in the know about, apparently, because mainstream media is not covering it. So let's jump into the news right away because I have some things that I really want to bring to your attention, and they're very important. So, first of all, the Miami mall was invaded by aliens, of course, and I'm sure you've heard of that already by now. And if you haven't, well, now you know. There were 8 to 10 foot beings reported, and it created an unprecedented response by police. And I'm sure you could see the pictures. Just look it up on TikTok. You are going to be surprised that these things may actually come out from underneath the earth, all these great things that they're working on. So, did they come from another planet and dropped out of the sky from some spaceship? Not likely. They probably came from some of the experiments they're doing underground and letting them out. Is that too far fetched for 2024? Not necessarily. I told you about the AI dragonfly that bit me a few years ago, and that was a real event. And that was almost a do me in event. So, yes, they are creating these technologies because I was the one that told you about this back in 2020 and actually 2019 and 20. And I looked at that AI lawsuit, and the AI lawsuit was talking about the out of control AI things that they're creating. And this may very well be some kind of beginning to that cycle. So, are they coming out of the sky? Probably not. They might be coming from inside the earth somehow, or some kind of experiment that's been going on. Lord knows there's enough experimentation. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Nice to see you again. Great to be here with you. Thank you for taking time out on your Saturday Eve to be here. So, yes, the Miami Mall was inundated with large beings that created a police response that was unprecedented. But nobody seems to be talking about it on the news, locally or otherwise, except for on independent broadcast. Hello, Colette. Nice to see you. So here we are, and we're in this craziness that's going to happen. And remember, we're going into a time frame in 2024 and beyond where your belief systems and your mind is going to get tested. So the battle is on for your mind. But the problem is, we don't care about the mind, we care about the heart. So to keep your heart intact is my objective this year. And last year was a really interesting set of events all the way through the year, culminating in some craziness that we don't really need. But this new year, just get ready for it because all kinds of things are going to bend your mind, and this begins 2024. So, what was reported in Miami with all those police going to the mall is these large beings that were roaming the mall, and they said instead it was a bunch of teenagers with large sticks. Well, maybe it was a bunch of teenagers with large sticks that were scared to death once they saw whatever they saw in the mall. So, since no one's talking and mum's the word, um, dumbs might really be the word, actually, if we were going to take it a little further and be more honest about it. But hey, those are all supposed to be cleaned out by now, right? Yeah, not likely, but hopefully. So I'm incoming from the great head. Can you see all that electricity around me? It's I can't stop that. I've tried before I got on here, but it doesn't go away. So we'll live with it. Also, more importantly, I want to bring your attention to a few things that are lining up. So, a long time ago, I was introduced to the things that might be coming down the pike from all different directions. And those things were coming to me both spiritually from people that were watching the earth changes, people that were working on inner outer healing, and people that are basically keepers of the poles on this planet. And I was told at age 23 that one day I might have to know the difference between radiated water and non radiated water. Now, that's a pretty profound thing to say to a young person. And I took that to heart. I really understood that I'd better get in alignment with my spirit because I might need to know something one day in case. So, as many of you know, I'm not just a broadcaster, I'm actually a quantum healer and have been working in that field for most of my 20 some years, even along with music and other things. But I wanted to bring to your attention a movie, and maybe you've already seen it, but it's a foreshadowing movie. And I'm not trying to do doom and gloom. I am here to bring upliftment for the next year, making life brighter, of course. But really, Julia Roberts stars in this movie. It's on Netflix, so you can see it now. It's called Leave the World Behind. And it's a very poignant foreshadowing of what has been planned, just like the movie shows you. And it's real. It's something that they talked about. Now, why am I bringing this to your attention? Um, I'm telling you this because when I was on the Truth Tour and I got to listen to 107 and I spoke with him personally, he was supposed to come on the show, but he never showed up. Um, he was being very direct about what the military industrial complex had in mind. And they'd done all kinds of studies, according to him. And he's telling me this standing right there. And I've witnessed to that, that they're planning on seeing a great decrease in population. So since they've done all the models and they've done all the scaling as to what they expect, there would be a massive population decrease, so much so that it would be almost unprecedented. So if they're looking at models like that, why would they keep that secret? And why would he be talking about that and yet not talking about that? Privately, I mean, I stood there and listened to it. I talked to the man. And then publicly, you're hearing it in these kinds of movies like Leave the World Behind. You're seeing that foreshadowing take place, but you're not hearing it across the board. So I'm bringing this to your attention because I'm starting to add up the pieces, which is something that I tend to do with all these things. And the pieces are very important to the puzzle. So just like they did in Cuba, like it shows in the movie, they're telling you they hope to control people by frequency. And certainly they can mess with your frequency. They can broadcast, they're already broadcasting. They're broadcasting all over the place to change the subspace. But if they were to do a frequency overload on you, like shows in the movie, it could alter your biology. It could alter your heart rhythm. It could alter your life, actually. And it would be maybe permanent damage. So the technology that they have is so far beyond what we're doing. It makes everything you have and that you think is private look like a joke. There's nothing that's private, there's nothing that's secure, there's nothing that's locked. Everything is accessible somehow or another. They're already doing it. How do I know? Because over the last year, I've been able to take myself off the internet, shut down my computer, lock it down, unplug it, turn it off, and things are still altered the next day or missing. You know that they can do whatever they want to do. Anybody can. And I don't want to get into the they, but the they is kind of poignant in this example of the movie. So I really recommend that you see this movie if you haven't already. And again, it's called Leave the World Behind, starring Julia Roberts. So it's a very it kind of foreshadows what Juan was talking about. It foreshadows things that were hinted at me along the way by different folks. And these folks were more of the spiritual kind, in the light, not in the dark. And the light people were kind of pointing out that, hey, there might be an opportunity down the pike one day where you may need to have some more honed skills to navigate what's coming. And then you have a whole slew of people that are often creating bunkers and other things, but why would they do that? You see, those frequencies they're talking about wouldn't just affect humans. It wouldn't it would affect everything. All the wildlife, all the birds, everything. So I think you really need to see that movie if you haven't already. It's kind of important. Now, to bring your attention to something else really important, Epic TV is showcasing something actually right now, but they have it on Epic TV for you to go and see. Epic TV is showcasing the real story of January 6th, Part 2, and I highly recommend that everybody watch that. That's really important to see, and I think it will shed light on some more activity in proof, in video proof, and some sound dialogue for a different point of view. So I really recommend you go to Epic TV and tune into that, check that out, whether it's tonight or tomorrow or something else, and make sure that you see that as well. That's very important. So many things are being foreshadowed, and it seems like timelines are actually converging right now. They're coming together. Timelines are moving into one another, and you're having almost a crossroads of opportunity at the moment. So what do you do? Well, you dial in more to your spirit, right? You get into that space of loving kindness with self and be attuned to what it is that you need to in order to hear direction. Because direction is going to be interrupted with more of the frequencies that are coming at you in the subspace and more of the suggested thought that may or may not influence many more people. So that is even more of an option to consider, that it may not be you that's affected, but somebody else might be affected. So, yeah. So I wonder if everybody has even heard about that movie on Epic TV, but it's something I think you should see. It's a very, very well done film, perhaps one of the better documentaries I've seen in a long time, but it's something that all should probably consider. So, Leave the World Behind, starring Julia Roberts, and The Real Story of January 6th, Part 2. Okay, so yeah, well, the people and lots of people have to pull full colon Russell hyphen J colon Gould forward. He doesn't just walk forward for you. The people have to pull him forward and demand him forward. This is the kind of key to this that's needed all the way along. So if we can pull Russell into the forefront, that would be great. But as he keeps telling you, the people in the powers that be, sort of like those that won't cover what happened in Miami, won't and wouldn't put him on publicly so that the world over knows that, right? They're hiding him as best they can so they can bury the narrative until more generations come along and take over and everybody forgets and anybody that was ever witness is no longer here. So the people need to come forward. And yes, I don't know who directed that movie, but excuse me, I'm going to interrupt here to answer the chat. It is a foreshadowing, right? You need to see what they're saying there and consider that, because no matter who directed it, it doesn't matter who made it, it doesn't matter who directed it even. Listen to the message there. It's very important. I think it's poignant. And with all the other things that are happening, chaos could ensue. You know, more earthquakes, more volcanoes. We know the time is kind of coming near where there's going to be more opportunity to try and stay steady because many things will be happening at once. And so, with all the earthquakes that are happening, most recently in the last week, and the overwhelm, the swarms in California, etc., there is a pressure that's building, and the pressure is happening inside and outside. So, to remind yourself to maybe go in and see how you can ground yourself more and more each day right now. I think this is going to be necessary. They talk about the satellites getting blown out in that movie and all communication going down, right? So I just think you really need to see that. It's unfortunately a narrative they've been certainly building toward. And on a lighter note, I saw two bald eagles today, and they were flying around in circles, and that was really lovely. That's always a good sign, right? As I came skidding past my driveway because of the snow and the ice, uh, eagles are good. So we'll take the eagle and we'll take the freedom and we'll hold tight to that freedom because we are the freedom. In the illusion called duality, we're always going to have polarity. But outside of the illusion of duality going within and coming into the 0 point space, I've been talking about that quantum field moving in toward your spirit is bliss and it's a restful place. So, yes. So, let's see here. Boeing. Boeing is now at a full ground stop. Why is Boeing at a ground stop? Because some poor kid almost lost his life out the window when the fuselage broke open, his window broke open, and it literally sucked the shirt off of him. Can you imagine? That would be terrifying. And people's things are flying out the window and they're losing pressure. Yes, so they took the fleet offline for a moment to check that out, and thankfully, nobody was really hurt. But that would be a very scary experience, similar to what happened out of Hawaii a few years ago, and the same kind of thing took place. So I think we have an opportunity to maybe lend a lot of love, support, prayers to the world over and to help balance the energies that are purposely challenging or disrupting harmony. And what else did I want to tell you about? Those were my main points, really. I wanted to come in and kind of give you that heads up that the earthquakes are really rolling. I noticed that about a week ago before the big one over in Asia, the 7 point whatever, and then of course that reverberates back around the world, and it's really drumming up all the lines of activity. And of course that's not surprising because we have all the Epstein things coming out. There's more knowledge that's coming forward, but to what end? That's the question. Now, there'll be a certain faction of people that will say, okay, that lines up over here and that supports this narrative. It justifies this narrative over here. And others will say it justifies the narrative over there. And maybe both are true and none are true. And we need to come down that center line to a more stable and balanced position because we might need it in the next short while. So, Full colon Russell hyphen J colon Gould has been busy at work. He's been working toward securing the next steps and the next rollout for things for people. He has recently seen one of the actors that basically tried to wrong lead the people over in England get arrested recently. So Mark Christopher Krishan, whom I learned about when I first started doing interviews with Russell, was wrong leading the people then and has since been taken in. And he's definitely somebody that was taking people down the wrong road and basically taking the technology and using it inappropriately. He was trying to tell people that they could become judges and other things when they couldn't, and he didn't even have the authorization or the knowledge to back that up. So there seems to be more of that going on. It's been going on in the world, and perhaps that's coming due now. Maybe there's a bit more of the times are changing, so to speak, and other things are rolling out. I had an experience recently that I want to share with you that has been also interesting. Through a story I'll share more in depth another day. To summarize, I had uh, a retired police canine come into my life for healing. And as that lineup took place, I was expecting this very vibrant um, dog to come into my life. And when he got transported out of the space where he retired from to go to his holding space where I would go meet him, I came to understand that he had been put on a 45-day timeline and starved, essentially. Now, they said that he was put in with other dogs and he was very nervous. And so that nervousness created really a lack of nutrition, and that food didn't stay in him very well. But the 45-day timeline was really unnecessary. And the surroundings of putting him in with other dogs was kind of unnecessary too. It was very arresting to see. And he went from this beautiful, vibrant animal to like skin and bones almost. So I'm working on that, and I'm hoping to lend my healing skills to bringing him back to full fruition and proper retirement because he has a rare condition that didn't let him continue because they couldn't count on what would take place there due to a lung issue. So that was really shocking to see, but it was really more shocking that it came to my attention that this dog, by government, was put on a 45-day timeline and not released to a better space. He was literally locked down for 45 days and wasn't allowed to leave that space. So that was very poignant into my now space. And I spoke with Fulco Russell about that, and he was talking to me about diatomaceous earth and working for the dog, and I was saying, yes, I agree, that's a good approach. So I shake my head over that. I can't believe it, but it's real, folks. That's all I can tell you. It's real. It's happening even to animals. So yeah, the animals. Wow. I didn't expect that. I really didn't. So wish me luck in pulling that back around because he's a beautiful being. He's a very intense being, well trained, and I got to go and talk with him more recently, get to know him a little bit, and I look forward to going back. So I'll keep you posted on how that goes. And next time I'll share pictures because it's pretty shocking, actually, really heartbreaking. So we have some work to do. No more of these silly timelines on paper that don't take into consideration well-being for anybody, anywhere. I think we have an opportunity to change this world, and I hope that we lend this year to making our lives brighter and making other people's lives brighter as well. So I just want to say thank you for tuning in and check out those movies right now. Go check those out. I think you need to see those and let that absorb into your consciousness tonight or tomorrow. The Real Story of January 6th, Part 2 on Epic TV, and the movie on Netflix playing now, Leave the World Behind with Julia Roberts. Okay, so there's my quick update, and I hope you go jolly. I look forward to talking with you again very soon and with more to share, and stay out of the malls in case the aliens come. Thank you.